Hi, welcome to episode 358 of your favorite daily podcast, A Couple of Things, a podcast about things. On today's episode, I talk with my friend Ace about a bunch of things. Talk about expressing yourself, self-censoring, dealing with grief and death, showing up in the world, and time travel. It's a fun conversation. Happy listening. Hello, welcome to today's episode of A Couple of Things. I have a guest. And, fun fact, we have the same birthday.
Yes, we do.
Which was very interesting because all my life I've been looking for birthday meat and I never found, and then finally
Oh,
I
no
found.
wonder I'm enjoying.
Like everybody I know is usually born like a day or 2 days or 3 days before after my birthday, but
And there
then
comes this.
and there, yeah. So yeah. Hi Ace,
How you doing, laddie?
I'm
How are you
good. How
today?
you doing?
Not too shabby.
Good,
Can't
good.
complain. Mhm.
Okay, so why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Oh, okay. Hello everybody. Thank you, laddie, for having me on here. My name is Adewale Ace. First of all, actually not. But yeah, a lot of people call me Ace. I think most people know me as this these days than they know me as Adewale. But that's a little bit by design. I've used Ace in most of the tech spaces that everyone discuss with that. I probably know what tech that to. So even when I want to introduce myself, even when I have the internal button, should I say at the image? But most days now I just default to say Adewale. And then if I'm recognized, people like, oh yeah, Ace. Well, yeah. It's good that you know. So yeah, I'm Adewale. I currently in Amsterdam, same city as Lade. And I've been here for a little over 2 years. So far so good. It's been really fun. I work for a company called Block as a developer advocate. As a staff developer advocate. I mean, yeah.
Mm. Okay. Is that all? You want to say anything else?
Let me see. Started laughing too much. Anyways, I'm a gamer as well. I like to play video games, but at the same time, I like to create experiences for gamers where people can play games, feel competitive. Like some people, not everybody is professional, right? You can be a pro gamer sometimes.
Yeah.
All gaming skills matter. So even if you're average, you should be able to feel the intensity of competition. And I
Mm.
like to watch people be under pressure. So I tend to try to create spaces like that, and I've created a couple and so on. It's so good.
Mm.
Open to create more of that. So I like to have fun. I like to experience new things. I like to be inside. So
Yeah.
that kind of
Okay.
thing.
Cool. So, second regular question: how do we know each
Mhm.
other?
Actually, I think it's just from Twitter at first, at least.
Yeah.
From if my memory is right, I'm used to see on Twitter like Ando. Then I should have thought about this for coming on this podcast. Uh, I can't remember. I think there was either an application or something, and then reached out to some. And I think that was how it exchanged first DM. It was about something, anyways.
Mm.
But we were just, I think, just on TL together.
Yeah.
I don't think we met physically to like came to Amsterdam. I think
Yeah.
that
I
was the
also
first
don't
time
think
we
so, but
met.
we do have a
Yeah,
lot of mutuals.
yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, the tech space last is very small.
Actually,
You always know a cat, I know a cat, I know somebody.
but now I feel
But I
like I
think,
actually don't know anybody anymore. To be honest.
I mean, I'm assuming your work is also thinking out of that, local tech space,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
yeah, it's a whole new world out here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
How do you
Uh,
remember it?
what?
How do you remember us meeting?
Probably just Twitter, and I actually don't have any memory of meeting in person until
Yeah,
Amsterdam.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like but my memory is not the best when it comes to things like this. So I don't know. Maybe you should take my word for it.
I get you. I get you.
But yeah. Then the final question: what's on your mind today? Well, not the final question of the podcast, like the final intro question.
What's your question? What's on my mind for today? Um, I mean, I was gonna say there's nothing on my mind today, but as I was talking, something just came up in my mind, just kind of like expressions, right? As an engineer, as growing up, are we? I mean, it depends on how you grew up, anyways. I can't avoid that if we set a limit on the way that we express ourselves.
Hmm.
Maybe sometimes in the name of respect, sometimes in the name of reading the room. I mean, not everybody does that. Some people just talk in here and it's maybe it's not a Nigerian thing, but I um just crosses my mind more often these days. It's also one of the things that I want to work on like next year.
Hmm.
In the sense of like a few years ago when I just started out in tech, I didn't know anybody. I used to build stuff and just express myself to share line. And then adulthood came in proper and then kind of like, walk back into your shell and trying to express yourself more now these days feels like a job.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's I mean, I've been wondering if it's more of a traditional thing and cultural thing, like it's just a situational thing that I started to and then want to figure out how's it like for me.
Sorry, when you first said expression, the first thing that first came to my mind was attachments. I don't know why.
Wow. I don't believe it because my mom is actually a hairstylist and that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like big X and then
That
impression.
was the first thing I saw. Like, I don't even know why, because I've not touched attachments in years or
Oh
months.
my goodness. You're
Then
reminiscent.
the second thing that came to my mind was like, oh, like doing many things, like, oh,
Yeah.
I work and then I write and then I bake and I, like, those, like, that's the second thing that came
I
to my
think it
mind.
applies to
Yeah, but in the sense you're talking about it, you're talking about like how you express yourself, like saying what's on your mind or what you're doing, things like that, right?
yeah, like on the internet, like
Mm.
avoiding the judgment eyes or
We listen and
also
we judge.
releasing our judge, right? And also feeling like, oh, maybe you're not good enough yet, or that
Mm.
not experiencing something. Basically,
Mm.
shooting yourself in the foot before creating something, before expressing something, because
Mm. So
you
like self-censoring
self
yourself, or limiting or withholding
self-censoring,
yourself.
sabotaging. I guess it could come in different forms.
Mm.
I guess I just wanted to have an idea how people feel, in general about like how they express themselves today. Like if you rate yourself from 1 to 10, how much of an expressive person are you in all facets of life? At
Hmm.
work, professionally, personally, relationships,
Yeah.
or are you someone that just cowers away?
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think it depends. From my perspective, I guess it depends on like what exactly it is, and
Wow.
the context and the situation and the people that you're expressing yourself to. So, for example, for me, if I'm talking about like UX or career paths or
Mhm.
whatever, I feel very confident in those areas. So I would just like I have almost no limits or
Wow.
bars in my mind of like, oh, maybe I can't talk about it, right? But for things that I'm newer to, like I'm learning data science now
Yeah.
and I'm baking,
Uh-huh.
I will be probably less confident to speak about those things or share the things that I am doing in those spaces, especially depending on the audience I'm talking to. So
Right.
if I'm like in a group of people where many of them are like machine learning experts, I'm less likely to talk as much
Yeah.
if the topic is on data science because bro, I'm just learning. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just figuring this thing out, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to other people like me who are all beginners, so some people in my class, for example, that don't have a data science background, now we can talk and be less shy because all of us don't know anything together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but if I'm talking about UX in a room of people who are also UX people, I'm gonna talk because I know that. So I
How much
think,
of that do you think is tied to confidence?
yeah, I think it's really tied to confidence. Like the more confident you are, the more you are able to speak, I
Mhm.
think. And a lot of time confidence about specific topics is tied to our experience of it, except like you have no, sense of of like, I don't know something. If you just feel like you do everything and you just talk everywhere, then that's a different case entirely. But for
Yeah.
people who are more aware of the limits of their knowledge, so to say,
Yeah.
yeah, your likelihood of expressing yourself or how you express yourself in certain scenarios would depend on your level of confidence on the topic that is being discussed, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think it's also how it's not just about expressing yourself because, like, even though if I'm in a room full of machine learning experts, it doesn't mean that I will never say anything. Maybe more of my talking in that scenario will be questions and ponderings
Yeah.
and seeking clarification versus if I'm in a room talking about UX research where people are talking about, yeah, maybe I'll also still be like information seeking, but I'll be more confident to share answers to things as well.
Exactly. Because actually, just like the example you just gave, having the confidence to ask the question, even being able to ask the question is a form of expression.
Exactly.
Because you don't have all the answers, but clearly you're still able to freely express yourself given the circumstances.
Exactly. So expressing yourself, I think, is not just about like giving answers or having the answers. It's also
Yeah.
about being able to ask questions. I mean, in if I just remember that when I learned English in primary school, they taught us about different kinds of statements. There's a question statement, exclamation, all
Wow.
these kind of things. So like there are different ways that you can express yourself, right? So yeah.
Can't imagine learning English as an adult. I think
When I don't think that when people learn a language as adults, they go into like this level of depth most of the time. You probably just like, because I mean I'm learning Dutch, so how they're teaching me
yeah.
Dutch is not, we're not doing grammar, and I mean we're learning grammar, but we're not doing like these are the kinds of statements in
Yeah.
Dutch. It's more like this is the grammatical rule and this is the whatever, join the things together and make sentences.
I know, right? Because English has so many exceptions. And even with that, there are times where I look at the sentence and I can't give it the official term for where it is wrong or correct. But I
Yeah.
just know that, oh, this is the correct statement. This is a long statement.
Also, even as a native English speaker, there are sentences I'm like, is this a correct, like, is this
I
grammatically
know, right?
correct? So,
I'm going to start learning Dutch next year, so I'm probably in trouble.
no. I mean, if you, learning a language is definitely challenging, but I feel
It's
like
exciting.
it is exciting. And just the moment where you realize that you've learned something, like, honestly, whenever I read something in Dutch and I understand it, I'm just like, wow, 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 wow. I'm so
I can
like
imagine.
proud of myself, because what do you mean that I read this thing that's in Dutch and I understood it? Oh, somebody spoke Dutch to me and I understood what they said and I
That's
can answer them back in Dutch. What?
I get you.
So yeah, it's very exciting, especially when you figure out like how you learn and the best way that you can learn the language.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember watching a TED talk some time ago about a girl. The person was talking about how people who are polyglots and speak and understand multiple languages, and she was talking about how
Yeah.
everybody has different techniques. She said that and there's one in particular that has stuck with me. This guy learned Russian by just messaging two random people and copying what each person was saying to the other person.
That's
It
crazy.
was one of the ways that he learned Russian. I'm not sure if it was Russian or a different, but there was a language. This is how the person learned it. One, like, so she's just sharing like many different ways that people learn things. It's like playing games that are in that language,
Yeah.
listening to books or reading books or listening to the news or whatever media in that language. So there are many ways
Yeah.
to
If I
supplement
could,
your lessons. Yeah.
100%. If I could have my way, just being able to understand so many languages would be like the greatest example. Like anywhere you go, you just
Yeah,
automatically speak your dialect.
that would
It's
be
like
amazing.
fantastic.
Totally amazing. So yeah. Anyway, what else is on your mind today?
Do you know how to speak many languages outside of English, Yoruba, Dutch?
English, Yoruba, Dutch. I used to be able to speak German
Hmm.
at like conversational level, but I don't anymore because I haven't practiced it in a while. Um,
Nice.
yeah, that's really it. How
That
about
makes
you?
sense. Well, me, I'm a trans. Like I like languages. So I just taste here and there.
You do like small tasting.
Yeah, but I wish I was able to do more. For example, I think I had almost 1,000 days streak on Duolingo, which was fraudulent. There.
I hate Duolingo.
Um, I
Let me
know,
never
right?
go into
It's
it.
fine. So my
this is
Spanish is
a
very busy.
this is a triggering topic for me. Let's not go there.
Duolingo.
Yes.
That's why I just have to feel to like, free me. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be your slave anymore.
That's one of the reasons why I hate Duolingo.
Yeah.
But again, let's not. I can go on a whole tangent, and this episode is about you. So
I just feel I'm even interviewing you.
exactly. But I did
But
want to
yes,
ask,
yeah,
where
go
did
on.
Ace come from?
Where did Ace come from?
Mm.
You know the saying that there's power in your name, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is actually a choice.
Mm.
Um, so this is how many years ago? Maybe what, it's 20. Well, yeah, we're in 2024. So it's probably 2012, 13 most likely. This is 11 years ago.
Hmm.
I was in a group with some boys that had ambition. Wanted to be wanted to be rich and great. Um, enough that we can dictate which word goes into the dictionary or not. That was the ambition at the time, like just being able to do great stuff. And we used to call ourselves KYD. That's where KYD actually goes from.
Ah,
So it's not actually K like KID like
I
most people
always
choose
very
it.
as kid, but
I
with the
know.
Y.
It was actually what's the for its acronym that I
Yeah.
can't remember from that. Whenever
What
I
it
think of what
means?
the acronym meant, which is what was the avoiding slash yeah. So if you ask we're like 6 or so. So if you ask all of us, they'll give you a February. So at the end of the day, we just stopped and just call it the capital KYD.
Uh,
Um but then there was a time we were talking about, you know what, let's have like a nickname on the KYD. Then I used to be called Don Wolsey, which is like Wale, but like WHLZY. And then people would be like, ah, is this guy copying whiskey and stuff like that.
uh,
So I picked up a dictionary, like I need a new name, the one that will go with QID. And the first one actually crossed my, like I saw was Ace, because I mean, it
ah,
starts with A.
yes,
I'm
the
like, oh,
beginning.
this is nice but scary, because it's like that the best at what you do, you're an expert. You This could be the smallest in a bag, but the most important. Like just random definitions like that actually carried weight.
Yeah.
I was like, this is FE, I bet. So I kept scrolling. I kept scrolling. I couldn't find anything exciting. And then the next one that came up was like Porsche. And I was looking at Porsche. I was like, this is not me.
Mm.
So I went back to the beginning and I was just looking at Ace for like 5-10 minutes. Like, I guess I have to be Ace.
That's interesting.
So I chose the name, but then ever since I did that, like, I started calling myself Risky. This gave me expectations. It came with like people hear that you're calling yourself Ace, they call the first look at you like, this is what I'm okay. Like, what kind of okay, this is this.
Yeah.
And then maybe sometimes when they see my work, they're like, oh, maybe it is Ace. I also went bigger. I mean, not I wasn't bigger, but when more like senior people in my industry introduced me like, hey, this is Ace. It's also kind of sets a tone for the
Yeah.
rest of the conversation. Like, why they call you Ace? Like,
Yeah.
they're good. And then we have conversations, and then they're like, oh, okay. It reminds me of this quote. I mean, it's a popular quote, but it reminds me specifically of this scene from Suits, where Avi was like, I don't know if have you seen Suits?
Yeah, I have.
So Avi was like, if you start behind the eight ball, you never get in front. So I
If you
feel like
start at the one,
you start behind the eight ball, that's like if you're playing pool.
yeah.
Like first impressions matter this day. So you start
Yeah.
behind the eight ball, you never get in front. So I
Mm.
feel like when I introduce people as Ace, like professional setting, it
Mm.
already puts me in front of the eight ball because the way they start to talk to me from there is one with like
Mm.
curiosity, like why are they even calling you Ace?
Yeah.
And it's always very interesting when I start to speak to this connect rather. Just
Mm.
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
No one has found out I'm in front yet. But having that name has forced me to also step up in certain situations. Like when
Mm.
I'm struggling, I'm like, dude, you're Ace, you need to stop this.
Yeah.
You need to figure this out. So it has worked all around to motivate myself as a reason, as a target, as a source of inspiration, so to
Mm.
say.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's a name I'm glad I chose. So,
That is very interesting, and I like this. And this is very interesting because I just finished a recording with a guest
yeah,
before this one,
yeah.
and she talked about like creating like an identity statement about herself and letting that guide her decision making. So, for example, if I say that I am a kind person,
Uh-huh.
then making sure that the behaviors that I exhibit reflect that,
Kind. Yeah.
right? And so like this is also that. So in this
Uh-huh.
instance, you have actually just made it the name is the identity that like
You
in
have to be
everything that
Ace.
I do, I have to be, and it's you cannot not remember when it's
Yep.
literally the name that people call you by. That
100%.
oh, I have to in this situation match my name. I like
100%.
that. That's interesting.
That saved me so many times. That's put me in trouble. It's good trouble, of course. So I'm like, shit, I should have probably
I
just
should,
ran away.
yeah, but you're like, no, I can't do it because I'm Ace. I really like
Exactly.
that. That's really good.
It's also kind of what the example you just give from the other guest about writing like kindness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It applies in so many cases. One is the name, right? Another one is this thing about African time that people do. You just have to tell yourself, like, I'm not an elite scholar.
Do you know,
it's
so interesting that this keeps coming up in conversations, because this is the third guest podcast that I've had that this exact same thing has come up, where it's like defining who you are and showing up in the world in that way. So like whatever it is, if it's with habits, if it's with food, if it's with your relationships, just like defining who am I in this situation, and not necessarily currently like who is the person that I want to be, how do I want to show up in the world. So it's like I'm not a latecomer, so I have to do the things that reflect that I'm not a latecomer.
100%. And it might not be perfect, but you know that this is a guidance for you.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you hit it 100% of the time, but it's like majority of the time you're showing up in a way that is consistent with who you have defined yourself to be.
And it actually works, because there are times where, like, for example, one thing I've tried to do is I always want to be a man of my word. Like, I always, if I say something like, or worst case, I'll tell you ahead of time, like, okay, I cannot be here anymore. Like, I won't leave you, like, hanging, like, oh, is this coming? I'm not coming. I'll be like, last minute, sorry, I can't make it anymore. So I always, like, see things that I mean. And there are days where maybe I tell somebody I'll be somewhere at 7 or this is, and it's getting to like, I don't want to go again. But just remember that I was about to cuss. I was like, dude, you've given your word. Get out of the house and do it.
Yeah.
So it's also applies that way.
This also happened to me yesterday. So I volunteered somewhere, and yesterday I hadn't even told them I was going to come yesterday. So I was like, well, I'm just not going to go. I'm tired. But then I was like, but that's not who you are. You have to go. So I went.
There's a lot of power in choice.
Yeah, and you have the choice to show up in the way that, and this is actually one of the ways that I stopped drinking. It was like, oh, I don't drink, and I just kept saying I don't drink until it's just like it's now roots. It's basically roots in my brain. Like, oh, what I don't drink. That's it. It's not like So it's very important to have these I guess identity statements about who you are and how you want to show up in the world, because I feel that everything that you do comes from what you believe, basically. And I don't also feel that this is like a psychological concept. Your behaviors are shaped by your thoughts, your actions are shaped by your thoughts and your beliefs. So
when you having these thoughts and beliefs yourself, how do you then perceive or understand people that just cannot figure it out?
How do you mean?
People that cannot help you late, people that you see they're trying. This is just an example anyway.
No, but I feel like there are situations, right? So I've not really looked into this, but I've heard about like things like time blindness and like just not having a sense of time, or like people that have ADHD where it's harder to like focus and all these kinds of things. But I think that even with that, there are techniques and tools and things, because the point is that if you decide that this is who you want to be and how you want to show up, wherever you're starting from, everybody's starting from somewhere. So wherever you're starting from, there are things that you can do to help yourself. So I've seen people who say that, oh, they have timeliness, for example, say things like, oh, I know that I have a challenge with like this thing, but I want to be showing up early to places. So this is what I do now. If I know I have to be somewhere by 10, I know it takes me an hour to get ready, so I have to start getting ready by 9. Sorry, it takes me an hour to get there, so I have to leave my house by 9. To leave my house by 9, I need to it will take me like an hour to get ready, shower, dress up, do my hair, whatever. So I need to start doing that by 8. So you're working backwards to be able to show up in the way, because at the end of the day, the point is that if you've decided that this is the kind of person I want to be, you have to look at yourself now. Who am I now? Where am I now? And then how do I close that gap? And this is the exact thing that me and the previous guest talked about. Like, do the thing, like picture what you want to be, who you want to be, not really where, but who you want to be, how you want to show up, and assess yourself now. What is the gap between those two things, and how can you close it? Sometimes you need help from other people to be able to do that. So do that. It's not a thing that you have to do by yourself all the time. You need help, find help, do it. So yes, for some people it might be easier to close that gap, and for some people it might be harder, but it's not impossible.
That makes sense.
I
to
don't
go
think.
off on a different route. from what you discussed with online guest. I'm going to change the topic for you.
No, it's fine. I feel like it's really great when these topics come up often because it just reflects that that's what people are thinking about, and it probably means that. And the way I think about these things is that if something is coming up often with guests, somebody needs to hear it, and
Probably.
this is for that person. At least one person needs this, and they need to hear it from multiple different people. So it's great.
Well, the next thing that's on my mind now is, what do you think about death and grief?
Sorry, I'm interviewing you, so I'm throwing it back to
Also,
you. What do you think about death and grief?
oh my days, I set myself up for that one. Didn't I? Those are very interesting questions. There's what is multiple cause. I mean, grief itself is very interesting, to be honest. When there's like a something in your, what's it called, in your stomach, in your chest, that is missing,
Yeah,
and nothing seems to feel it. I like this saying from Vision that says,
I
once
was
it's
gonna say
grief,
that.
it's
I
no
was
longer persevering.
See, the first time I heard that, it has stuck with me. It's such a
I know
powerful,
that.
powerful quote.
I know. And it's insane, right? And I'm also going to quote Vision again, something that I used to counter that mentally, in the sense of, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. So grief could be not just for death, right?
Yeah.
It's not just anything. And sometimes we wish, or we act in it with that, oh, lost this thing, so we must not have been that could be very bad cases. Or you should have stayed longer and stuff like that. So the other saying, like, in the sense of, a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's just beautiful. It's not beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's, grief is just heavy. I feel like it's heavy, something that's, even when you know what it is or what it entails, it's still difficult to wrap around.
Yeah.
And more often than not, we connect grief to death. So one thing that's been on my mind is death of myself, for people around me, and how severe that could be. Yeah, so that's,
I think for me, when I think about grief and death, I always think about it from the perspective of my faith. And I'm surprised that I've not done an episode on this because I thought I did. And thinking about grief is not just about people. You can grieve things that you've lost. You can grieve opportunities that you thought you were going to have, but you didn't have.
yeah.
You can grieve like different kinds of things can cause grief. But mostly when we talk about grief, we're talking about like the death of someone that you love or know. Or even, I remember one of my first experiences with grief that I can remember very vividly was somebody who died. I didn't even know this person really well. We were in the same circle, kind of. Maybe we spoke a few times, but I was very hit by his death. And I think you know this person actually. And I wrote about it then that I don't understand how to deal with this grief because it doesn't feel like I have a right to grieve in this way because I didn't really know this person. We didn't have a relationship.
Was
So
it a long time ago?
yeah, this was when I was working at City Hub then. So this was like maybe
But I think
2017
yeah.
also. Yeah. So that was one of my first experiences with grief, and something that has shaped how I think about grief now, whether it's the grief of losing a job or a job opportunity or a person, is looking at my faith. And what the Bible says about that is that we do not mourn as I forgot something to
Anyway, just reminded me of it.
Yes, we do not mourn as those who have no hope. So it makes me realize that it's okay for me to grieve. I can cry. I can mourn whatever I have lost or whomever I have lost. But the thing that I cannot do is mourn like I do not have hope.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that keeps me, like I can hold my grief at the same time with hope that there is more, there is redemption, there's something.
But then for the rest of your days,
Sorry?
let's say redemption for them or for the rest of your days.
Well, for redemption, for like the feelings that I'm feeling will be redeemed.
Okay.
Like the hurt, the pain, everything, there's redemption in the end. And I cannot say about redemption for, because in the context of the verse from the Bible, it's in the context of Christians mourning the death of other Christians. So that's a different concept from.
Wow.
But I think that my thinking with the Bible is that yes, you have to understand the context in which things were written and to whom they were written, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be applied to other circumstances and situations. So
Yeah.
because like if I'm mourning a job loss or not getting an opportunity that I really really thought I would get and I really wanted, or something didn't go according to the way that I thought, I'm still grieving, I'm still mourning, but I'm still mourning with the hope that all of this will make sense in the end. Maybe not even on this side of eternity, but it will make sense in the end. So that's how I think about grief and death. Oh, and death in general. I used to be afraid of death. Um
Yeah.
until I met Jesus. But yeah, but for real, like after that, it's like I've not been afraid of death since then. And this was like in 2020, I think, which was a great time to be afraid of death because people were just dying everywhere. COVID, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I can
I had
imagine.
emergency surgery because my appendix was 3 times its size, so I almost died. So, I was thinking about death a lot.
That's crazy.
um but then I came to realize from my faith that death has, like, if I die, I'm gonna be with Jesus. Like, what about that is bad? Like, so, like, I'm
What
not
is
afraid of death. If I live, is all to God's glory. If I die, is also all to God's glory. So,
what is crazy
oh,
is I'm also not afraid of them for entirely different reasons.
mm-hmm. What is the
Um, I mean, for me, there's this thing that pops up in my head from God of War, which probably doesn't apply because it's a God of War. I'm just me. And it's saying like death cannot be any ends meet. Um, so there's this just embrace like, oh, the time has come, I can stop kind of right.
yeah,
So I'm not afraid of death for myself. Because I feel like I've lived. I've done most things that I never thought I would to do. The rest of the extra years is just nice. Is it plus? Um, so I'm not even worried about my own death. I think the death that I fear most is losing the people that I care about. And I've
yeah.
been to go through grief for that. Just probably need to be selfish because I'm not thinking about what grief.
What the grief the
If
other people will have if you
if
die.
yeah, if like that, so it's crazy. I guess I'm meaning to be selfish there, but it's just I'm a bit of losing other people, and I work on it if time comes.
Yeah. There's something that came to my mind yesterday or a few days ago that I don't think I should talk about. I'll tell you after the recording. Because I don't know that I want to say that on the
No
recording.
problem.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No. But remind me after I forget. It's about death and
Yeah,
like
that's
people
fair.
you love dying. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a very tough one. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
very tough.
now I don't know how to segue into another topic because we just talked about something very heavy. but but what else is on your mind? Just
Um.
like if you ask me a question, I'll ask you back.
Oh God. I'm only not talking about it. I mean, we just start talking about the next thing I remember. And it's probably comments. I'm guessing some people might wonder when I say like I have what's it called? Like I have lived. It's not because I've done all the biggest or greatest things we want like experience everything, but I have this perception of life where somehow we are limited to a certain set of emotions. Like there's a maximum amount of happiness you can have, there's a maximum amount of grief,
A certain set of
joy,
what?
a certain maximum of happiness you can feel, that your
Ah,
body is
okay.
capable of feeling. Happiness, sadness, sorrow, joy, excitement, that's case may be.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at the, I mean, checking my privilege maybe too, but I think I'm at the point where I've gone through a cycle of almost what possible emotions, hopelessness. Okay, maybe I've never been hopeless actually. But sadness, grief, happiness, excitement. And a part of me feels like for the rest of our lives, as it keeps me, just continue chasing a repeat of some of the feelings that we've had before. Like even if you think about maybe something you've wanted more than anything, you'll be very happy, but you probably got to something that wasn't as good as that thing is at a different point in your life, and you felt that's a level of happiness.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, So for me, life or the rest of life feels more like a cycle of repeating these emotions and then actively choosing which emotions we want to experience, and then you're creating your experiences for them, which also goes back again. Uh, to me, talking about enjoying creating experiences, because it's like you have to choose what emotions you want to create for yourself, because the rest of life is just a cycle of emotions repeating themselves.
That's interesting. What you're talking about reminds me of this thing from this some of the psychological theories of emotions, and
Yeah.
how our emotions shape like the physiological reactions we have in our body, and then there's the reverse where the physiological things that happen in our body shape our emotions. So the one side of that of the theory is that the reason why you feel anxious is your heart is racing, so your body interprets that to
Society.
anxiety, and so you feel anxious. And then the reverse is that the reason why your heart is pounding is because you feel anxious. And who knows, I don't know, I haven't looked at this thing in
Fiction
a very long
first.
time.
The
But
anxiety was funny.
exactly, so I haven't looked at this in a very long time, but I think that what it means is that at the end, as not maybe not what it means, but something that it implies that we could
Yeah.
take like practically is in at the end of the day, your physiology, you can like maybe not change, but like influence how you feel by changing your physical response. And not always, in some circumstances, maybe. Because I also think now, for example, like when people have panic attacks or things like that, the first thing that they tell you to do is to breathe, to take
Um,
deep breaths, to
have you
use
ever
your
had a panic attack?
senses. Yes, I have had two panic attacks in my life. First time I was stuck in an elevator. Second time I don't remember what
Yeah.
it was about. um,
I was
but
gonna say that as someone that has had panic attacks as well, just breathing is not enough.
no, I mean obviously not just breathe. That's why I said like it's not like all the time and in every circumstance, but
Yeah.
a lot of the time when you feel certain things, that's why like they will tell you breathe, use your senses, look
Hmm?
at something that you can see, name something that you hear, those kinds of things, because it's
Yeah, that
supposed
drags
to
it away. Yeah.
help you like basically change how your body's reacting so that you
Yeah.
can calm down kind of.
100% get you. There's this thing though. I don't know if it's the other side of the conversation, but there's this thing where at the point where I was at the height of my anxiety issues, and I am technically in a fight or flight situation. I mean, not 100% of the way there, but I could perceive that this is probably a fight or flight situation.
Mm,
And my body starts to react aggressively as if I'm fully anxious, even though I am still calm, like emotionally, whatever it is. But my physical body recognizes what situation is coming
mm,
and starts to react to that specific situation, even if my mind is what's it called, is still calm when I'm aware of everything is fine. Or just that awareness of a possible fight of lines changes my entire physical reaction.
mm.
Which was insane, because imagine you're actually saying you're fine, but you're shivering.
Yeah,
And it's not like
exactly.
you're doubting that you're fine. Like you're 100% certain that you are fine, but your body is shivering because of anxiety reaction. And it was crazy because when I started taking rest, that kind of changed my body's reaction temporarily.
Mm.
When I stopped taking those meds, if I'm not in that fight or flight situation, it's almost as if my body no longer has memory of how it used to react. So it remembers the last time that it's or was still calm even in a fight or flight situation.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how that works. I don't know how it works in it, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, and one of the things that people, what's the word? Like, slate psychology about is that a lot of things, there's so many exceptions to so many of the theories and so many of the, and there are questions about like replicability and how the experiment or whatever was conducted. But
Yeah.
in the end, I think that there's always some element of truth in some of these things. They may not
Mhm.
apply in every scenario and in every situation, but there are elements of truth in it, and we may not ever fully understand everything about the human body physiological and psychologically, but we can try and see what we
100%.
discover. Yeah. Anything else on your mind?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. Don't ask me back because the answer
Okay.
is yes. But the thing that was on my mind was curiosity if you find yourself fascinated by time travel theories, just time shows and stuff.
Of course, I'm going to ask you back. So, do
Okay, my
you
answer is
find
yes.
yourself
So I'm
fascinated?
asking.
Okay, tell us more about that. What is fascinating to you about time travel and things like that?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So you're not going to answer at all.
I will answer, but you answer first.
I mean, I've always found it intriguing. For example, I was watching Harry Potter again. Was yesterday, which is the Vasco, Prisoner of Azkaban, third version. And in general, I should point out this. In general, I get very excited. Watching something that has time skips, not time skips, rather, the time gaps, overlaps, like just everything. Timeline is well messed up. I enjoy it. It's like a thriller. Um, and then I realized that in Harry Potter, when they did the entire thing where Hermione went back in time, I just couldn't help but visualize what time could look like or what form take it in sense of this thing's already happened. That's why it is happening.
Hmm.
So if it already happened and now it is happening, is time written at once? Like it's just a flat slate, like boom.
Hmm.
Because you can't tell me people go back to rewrite it. Because how does it work? This is probably stupid. Probably you for this podcast, but it actually was on my mind. So imagine we think about the sequential events. Join a circle, and then someone goes back again to join a layer on top of that circle. Has the circle always been 2 layers, or has it always been one? And then when you check again, it's now 2, it's now 3. So it has always been multiple layers all at once. That's the fascinating thing about going back in time to the same spot. Does that make sense?
Sorry. Can you say everything you just said again?
I know, man. Moving on.
No. Say it again. Say it again.
So I'll ask you, if you ever had a thought of time
Mhm.
traveling movies, well, if I ask you what time travel movie have you seen, which one will be the first one that comes to your mind?
I watched Predestination.
I never saw that.
I think
Which
I
one has you
also
said?
watched. Is
How-
Inception a time travel movie?
No, no, it's not really. It's
No,
not.
okay, but I read a time travel book once. I can't remember the name, but I think it was by Stephen King, and it was about the assassination of JFK, like a fictionalized time travel
Oh,
story about the assassination of JFK of some American politician. I can't remember details clearly anymore. I don't think like time travel is like my go-to genre for anything, to be honest, but I do find the concept fascinating. Um,
okay.
and I do
Yeah,
find
let's
the
bring it to
concept
real
of
life.
sorry.
Self-travel, go on. And concept of
I find the concept of time itself interesting.
yes,
But go
I do.
ahead with what you were saying.
So I was gonna bring an example to real life here. Let's say Lade invents a time travel machine 10 years
Mm-hmm.
from now, and you travel back to this moment of having this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have a time machine in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Has the time machine always existed, or does it have an origin point if it can appear multiple times? Let's say in 20 years' time, you now travel back to 1960 when
Mm.
Nigeria gained independence, and maybe you're actually the one that made somebody dialogue. It means humanity is the past, we are here to change it in the future.
Yeah, so
That's
I
the
feel like that is one of those like time travel is a paradox now. Is that like
paradox,
when
yes.
you change something that happened in the past?
Yes. Sometimes they call it the grandfather paradox. But now everybody has talked about the grandfather paradox in whatever way that is formed. The thing that is now of my mind which brings us to the initial question is if you want to take a snapshot of time, even with the grandfather paradox, is it like a fixed slate where you take the multiple layers of the time changes or whatever at once, like, oh, this is the picture, this is like always going to be like this? Or is it like something that keeps evolving, even though the paradox is always fixed? If you get what, like one point you might check and it's still before they went back. I feel like my question is turning to
Bro, I don't know. I
yes.
don't know. I do not know.
That is in the last 10 minutes of this conversation. We will
Time
move on.
travel is not my area of expertise. I
It
don't
is so
know.
exciting. But yeah,
But I find it fast. I don't to be honest, I don't think it will ever happen. Um, but who am I to say? I don't know.
I made a what's it called, a video on Twitter about 2 3 years ago for April Fool, and it was very exciting. It was a time travel thingy.
Mm.
Um, so basically, I think I was in my room there. I was even putting it. I was in my room, and I was just explaining. Well, I've cracked it. I'm starting a startup called Night Time, and I was just going off with on rubbish. It was just jargons, and then
Mm.
I did like some kind of edit to it. Me from the future, okay, to write the startup. And it was so cool. I had to even be like, what the I was the one cussing. I was like,
Thank you for
what are
catching
you doing?
yourself.
I know, right? Consciousness. I was like, what am I talking about? The company just wasted 10 minutes or 5 minutes of their time, blah, blah, blah. And they won't believe in me. Like, we just was very excited to talk about. I feel like it's just a mental exercise that you probably never get the correct answer.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to just be like, just imagine.
What could happen? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess that's why I kind of like it. And when I see it in movies that it makes sense, like low key, like I got that all along. Episode 7 was pretty interesting.
No, I haven't seen Agatha, but I've seen Loki.
You should say I got that all along.
I think
And
I've
stuff like
divested from Marvel
Marvel.
Cinematic Universe since
Why though?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm over it.
But
To
you were
be
into it
honest.
before, right? For you to remember the animation
I
stories.
I don't think that I was like super into it really. I don't even, because I don't think I've even watched the whole thing in order, but I was kind of into it. But now I'm just like over it. I don't have the energy in me. I've not watched anything since WandaVision.
Honestly. I am very into it, especially the first Infinity Saga. To the point that if you play a scene and I just see like a picture or maybe two friends, I can tell you what movie
What and what's
what's
what happened is
exactly
in,
what's that
yeah,
is.
I think I stopped at WandaVision. After that, I just couldn't be bothered. Also, because they changed it to a lot of series, not just movies, and I don't
Yeah.
have time to watch series. I don't have time. I can't be investing in new series all the time. So yeah,
Very hard to
yeah.
very much.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we're like
Do you have any questions for me?
45 minutes in. I had one question for you actually that we didn't touch on.
Yeah, what's it?
And it is like, for people who do not know, what is a developer advocate?
All right. When I'm introducing myself, when I say I want to what do I do, blah blah blah. The easy way I like to describe it is okay, I'm essentially a software developer that's that teaches other software developers. That's how I describe it.
Hmm.
Um, and then when I was like, oh, interesting, can you tell me more? I've kind of like painted a picture of
Mm.
what to imagine. But essentially, a developer advocate is someone that works with a company and a community, and you enable the developer community to be more involved, understand some of the could be tools, could be technologies, could be anything tech, depends on whatever industry you're working on, for them to be able to use these technologies as easily as possible. And then if they run into issues, you're able to take those feedback um, back to your company or organization. People normally describe it as the bridge between the larger software developer community and the actual engineers that produce solutions,
Hmm.
in some of these organizations. So it's one of the reasons why you see me or other developer advocates like outside talking to people, showing them examples. And some of the things I do mostly is creating educational materials, videos, um, responding to questions, and all of those things. And you get excited, but it's also like people often be like, "What are you people doing?" There's so many trends on Twitter that starts off like attacking the rule itself, and I don't blame them. There are many people that saw the rule as something that this seems easy or it seems like you're just doing vibes.
Yeah.
And, they get into it and they become frauds or they crash out eventually.
Yeah.
Uh, but it is what it is. But that's basically, I don't know if that made sense, but
Yeah. So
that's,
I'm one of the people that did not know. But what I wanted to say is, so what I'm hearing is, because I like to like, I need to draw
yeah,
connections to something else to really understand something. So
yeah,
what I'm hearing is a combination of like writing user manuals. So like if there's a kettle, the person that writes the manual for the kettle, and if they upgrade the kettle,
yeah,
then you write a new manual on
yes,
the kettle, and
yes,
then also you do customer support when people have questions about the kettle.
yes. So if you think about this, there's so many, what's it called, areas that you can specialize in this space.
Yeah.
Very rarely would you find someone that is one that wrote the manual, who's also on outside the call, or
Mm.
maybe one that will be outside telling you to buy the products.
Mm.
So it's not just sales, not just marketing, not just customer support. It's like having the gumption to apply each of these abilities or skills and knowledge, most
Mm.
importantly,
And also
to develop,
community management as
yeah,
well.
to develop a community. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I just always wonder, like, what does it really mean to be a developer advocate? What does it entail? Cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I've been doing it for a
And do you need
while.
to know how to code to be a developer advocate?
It depends on the role that you're getting into, but I always recommend it. Learning how to code helps you become a stronger developer advocate. So you're able to make more impact, understand people's problems because you've been in that situation, that mental capacity. Because someone that doesn't know how to code, I'm working as a developer advocate, coding or developer focused community. Someone runs into a problem, you do have like the experience in any way to be like, well, let me look at the problem. If I don't know the answer, I have enough understanding to be like, oh, this is probably what is causing it. Let me refer it to this person. But if you are not knowledgeable in any form about coding parts of it, you be to be disastrous.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. As we wrap up, do you want people to find you somewhere and connect with you on the internet?
I guess so. I was thinking about where I wanted them to follow me because I have identity crisis sometimes. I have so many social media accounts. But you can follow me on Instagram, ISKTV. I post random content on there. I don't have a niche, just anything that comes to mind. I also stream video games on Twitch, ISKTV as well. And I try to make videos that share my experience on YouTube, ISKTV too.
Okay, cool. Thank you for being here and thank you guys for listening. This was a great conversation. Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If there was anything you found interesting or insightful or you enjoyed the episode, please do share to someone or multiple people. Like, leave a comment, and definitely do subscribe and all the nice things. Bye.